So The Liberator is a 4-part miniseries on Netflix. You could binge it in a day in like a little less than 4 hours. It's about a U.S. commander named Felix Sparks, who's played by Bradley James. He leads his crew from Italy to France with the Allied forces, and they fight over 500 days in this world war. Apparently this is a true story. There's also a book that is obviously with more details, but what sets this crew apart is not only that they fought over 500 days, but this crew was composed of not only white Americans, but also Mexican Americans and Native Americans. And like how it's stated at the end of the series, these races obviously had tensions back home, as we have seen, but they set all that aside and they come together to fight the common enemy. And that's what I like to see. I like to see races that obviously have some differences, but they can put that aside to join forces, to work together, because we all know that that's possible. And these men were brought together by Felix. It all started out as him taking the responsibility to make them pass a firing range test, but he taught them more than that. He taught them to come together, how to work together, and next thing you know, they're one of the best crews out fighting World War II. Now in the beginning when I saw this trailer, I wasn't sure if it was actually live action and then just put like what it looks like a Pixar filter over it. I was debating if it was like actually animation or a new form of animation, because it's something that I just never seen like on screen before. But it turns out like there are real people, there are real actors. I mean, at first I thought they were just doing some animations of real actors, but no, it's actually a combination of live action and CGI. Now, I'm not saying that this is what makes the show great. I mean, yeah, it's nice to see something different. It's nice to see something that we haven't seen before. But is it necessary? I mean, some would say no, you know, because it always just comes down to the story and the whole portrayal of the story and the action sequences and whatnot. And no, I haven't read the book, so I don't know like the major details of the actual story. What happened, obviously, I don't think it's going to show its more details. I think it's a bit more complicated than what we see in the series, but other than that, just viewing it as a series alone without knowing what actually happened in the true story, I personally liked it. I don't like it because of the action sequences or because it's bloody or because of the CGI. I like it because I see the breakdown of Felix. I mean, from the beginning, you know, he's this guy who decides to take these men and help them work together. And in the first half of the series, the first two, he sees how his men are just slowly dying. I mean, the crew that he falls in love with, that he befriends and is like a figure to them, who fights with them, who just sacrificed going home to his wife just to rejoin his men. And he's just seeing them die off like one by one. And you can see how bad it hurts him. You can see how it's just breaking him. But that doesn't stop him from leaving the war. He still decides to stay. And even though in the second half we get some new members, but he kind of changes his perspective of life in general and of the war itself also. And we see that change of perspective towards the end when they get to this concentration camp and they liberated this group of people that were in there. But this is where the controversy starts, because he tells one of his officers to secure the area, and he goes on with these other two soldiers, and he sees that some injured German soldiers were in this camp, but they're obviously unarmed. They're all injured. They can't do anything. But this guy's just like, he shows like no mercy, and he decides to just kill them all. And this massacre is captured on film by photos, and word gets around, and now Felix is questioned. There's a controversy that he's the one that made the orders to do this massacre, to kill everybody. The character of Coldfoot I actually really like, because he's a Native American, he's from Native descent, but he starts off as a prisoner along with the original crew that Felix had. They were all prisoners, but they start from nothing, and this guy makes it to sergeant because of Felix. Coldfoot is somebody that he was about to go get revenge on a sergeant that was just being a douche to him, but Felix stops him and tells him, hey, you are promoted. And he ends up being a sergeant. I like how Felix believed in him when no one else would, especially because of his background. Now, personally, I've seen this premise before where it's two races or two or more that come together to do something. Mainly, I've seen it in sports movies like football, like Remember the Titans. But in terms of like seeing it in a world War II movie. It's something that I think it's different and it tied really well. I mean, and it's not even fake. It's actually a true story. So I'm actually glad that I found this series. I'm actually glad that I watched it because it deals with that topic of races that just don't like each other or have some sort of beef because of tensions back home or the way people just view each other, but they somehow got together, they put all their differences aside, and that's always something good that I like to see, not only in film but in real life. And like I said, I know there's more details than all this. There's probably details that they left out from the book or from the actual story, from what happened, and I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm not gonna look at that. I don't care if I missed some major details, whether stuff is not true or it was just sugar-coated. I'm viewing it as how I saw it as a series, and I'm gonna say I like it. It was a good time. I binged it. I mean, it's only a 4-part series, so anybody could just see it in under 4 hours. I would definitely say go for it. Go watch it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe, turn your post notifications on, and that is all for today. We'll see y'all next time.